fear in dressing in color, but that was a suggestion. You were suggested, you took it on yourself, fear-based, because that religion is fear-based, and it changed, altered the course.
Unconsciously, because I didn't even realize when I stopped.
Of course.
Like, I have no idea when I just began to
we have a lot of power.
Black and white.
We have a lot of power with clients, and we have to be very careful to use that power very wisely. That's why you have to check your opinions, you have to check your judgments, big time.
I probably listened to him because he said something else that came true, and I was like, holy shit, I better listen to him.
And
He's
you
like, you're gonna get
ask
sick.
why, but a lot of times people won't ask the therapist or the doctor or the professional. Like right now, I have to take this medicine, and I don't want to take the medicine, and everywhere I go, I'm getting backlash about not taking this medicine. And I have to really make a decision about this. I'm going to 2 more doctors to get some more opinions, and then I'll make the decision. But just because the doctor said so, just because the authority said so, is no longer something that we should, that's changing in our world too, because of the internet and people taking charge of their own health and things like that. But there's still the white coat syndrome. You see the person in the white coat, and you think that there's a position of power. And I tested my doctor the other day. He's like, so, with an attitude, are you gonna take this medicine? And I started asking him questions. He did not like that I was asking him questions. So at the end of the consultation, I said, so where do I sign up? That man smiled and laughed, came up to me, gave me a hug, because I was telling him in so many words, I'm doing what you're saying. I have not. I'm still looking into my options. But it was night and day. So we have to be very careful. We are companions to our clients, companions on this journey they call life. We do not know more. We ask questions, we try to figure this out, and we think of why we're asking a question to guide them to come up with their own revelation.
But what if the outside voice is stronger than your voice? Because there's this resident, she always telling me how she's been picked on. Like her self-esteem is low, but she like nails. Like, I notice when I have my nails done, she like that, and she buy the little press-on nails. Like her self-esteem is low, but when she around certain people, she act different. Like I still haven't questioned her about it, because it's just like, but why you do? Is it just me, or do you do it around other people? Like when she walking by, she stick her chest out. It's just like, but why you doing it when you walk past me? I didn't got nothing up here. Like that's supposed to impress me. Like I asked her.
This is a stance of fear. This is a stance that I have to protect myself.
Really?
Yes.
When she
people
walked
puff
by
up their chest, I have to protect myself. I'm ready for.
When she
I'm on the
walked by,
defensive.
that's exactly what she do, and it just be like, are you sticking your chest out?
And she might want to be seen, but she's in a stance of defensiveness.
I get that, but it kills me every time. Like, what are you doing? I don't have no chest. I don't have no chest. Like, when she do get her nail done, she makes sure she stop at me. Like, usually she'll speak or whatever. I ask her about her day, she'll go. She'll go. Like, I asked her to stop putting her hair up. Like, well, at first I asked her, why don't she put her hair up? Like, I'm like, you have a nice face. You're very beautiful. And like, when you compliment certain people and they don't like the compliment, it shows. So I was like asking her to start putting her hair up or whatever like that. She's like, no, I don't like it, that is, that. But she did. She lied about how long she did it. I seen her before she came in, she stopped and put her hair in a ponytail. She didn't have it in school, but she came in the building with her hair in a ponytail. So instead of me saying, oh, I just seen you put your hair in a ponytail, it's like, you have your hair like that's very beautiful. I love it. I was like, did you wear your hair like that all day? Yeah. I was like, okay, did somebody else besides me say something about it? And she was like, no. And I'm just looking like, maybe because you didn't have your hair up all day. And it's just like so funny because when she tell me certain things and like she do her little nails, she makes sure she tapping. Like one day I try to act like I didn't notice it. So I'm just still talking about, she was telling me about this, I can't think of the Spanish word she used for somebody calling her a witch. She probably, I don't know. But I'm looking at, I'm like, what that means? She just tapping even harder. I'm just like, I'm gonna ignore the hell out of this. See how long this lasts. So then somebody else started talking to me. So she had left with an attitude. So when she got on the elevator, I was like, I like your nails. Like her face just lit up. So it's just like, some people want attention, but some of the attention they crave, it's like, it's not good, but at the same time, it's good. Like, she claims she don't want to be noticeable. But yeah, she do things.
There's a story.
She do
and the
things.
nails might be the safest thing.
I have no
Pay
clue.
attention to me. Remember what I said, color and vibrancy and gangaria and
Yeah,
gold.
she loved big earrings. She don't like small earrings. She loved big
All of
earrings.
that
She just colored
is-
her hair.
I want to be noticed, but, you know, I had someone taken from me or I had something separated
like when
from
she
me.
do
I feel
certain
separated from something that I need you to notice me. Whereas the more demure people is more of an aggression, and if I'm seen, it can be dangerous. And we can flip on and off depending on what triggers we have. But you can notice that in the nonverbals with your clients. Okay, so using the symbols is important, and listening to symbols, and even color is simple. So if you notice that about your client that they're always wearing neutral colors, that's something that you can bring up.
I brought the colors to my hair, because that's when I also started changing my hair colors. Like literally every month I will have a new hair color, just why I have to like chop it all off, because it just like one bad, yeah, like really bad.
My mom, as a little girl, she was always like, stand up straight, da 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 da. But I never liked that, like, you know me? And this Saturday, my brother told her. I was in the living room, yep. I was in the living room, so it was like almost 10 o'clock at night. I had just put my son to bed. Thank God that I was in the living room, because she was like, she didn't go off on him, but she had this whole speech with him talking about, oh, that's just a phase you're going through right now. This happening because you don't go out, you don't have friends, you need to go out more, and you know that we don't see that right, and everyone right now wants to be gay and lesbian. And she was like, I'm going to be praying for you because I know.
Now
I'm like,
imagine
no.
if that kid went to a therapist and said that. How much harm that therapist
Oh, yeah.
would be doing to that client. And yet that happens. And that is why you need to know your limitations.
She went off on me the next day. She's like, you need to talk to your brother. And I was like, why? Like, that's his life. That's what he chose. So she's like, oh, that's because you want to be liberal and equality for women. I'm like, you know what? And we got into it. You know how
Don't get this one going.
No, but you know how you told me practice not to get into conflict. That did not happen.
Okay.
No, yup. Sunday, I even brought up the fact that if she ever touches my son or touches me, I'm gonna call the cops on her just like she did me. She's like, you lived in the past, and I'm like, yeah, I do. And
So
I
there's
also
still
told,
some unresolved.
I also told her
issues there.
why
That's
growing
why
up
we provoke conflict.
I didn't communicate with her because I was scared. I still am scared.
At the root of that anger towards her mom is hurt and sadness.
Hell yeah.
You weren't cared for the way you needed to be cared for. And who's familiar with the term transference in therapy? Where you transfer, the client transfers their feelings onto you, and a lot of times people think, the clients think that they're in love with their therapist. Okay, and then the therapist loves their client. That's called countertransference. So this is oftentimes what happens. is that the therapist is so understanding, so validating, so accepting of the behavior of the client. But the client is like, oh my God, no one has ever loved me like this before, I'm in love with you. So if you were to get into therapy with someone who supports you wholeheartedly, who doesn't demonize you, who agrees that you're raising your kid appropriately, that sees you for what you're worth, of course you're going to be like, oh my God, this person is amazing, because look what you have to go home to every day. And remember that our parents, from conception, were fighting those evil sort of thoughts that they had about themselves. So we are constantly fighting with our parents inside, and then you have it on the outside too.
I think the reason why, and I think I told you guys this like when I first started the class, I think she fights and I fight with her is because since she was related to my dad, and I also told her, I was like, I don't think you want me. I seriously don't
Okay,
think you want me. Because of
she
the-
was married to the devil. She married someone in her own family.
Yeah.
There is stigma, that's a symbol. There is stigma. What is the common belief if you marry someone that's related to you? The child will be
That
what?
will come out deformed. or
The child will have some sort of problem. So she's not deformed. Maybe the epilepsy is your form of
My
that
brother
story.
is, though. My brother has muscular dystrophy.
Okay. So the one came out with a physical illness, the one came out, well, you have physical in some way.
Yeah.
It followed that belief system, and then on top of that, you continue to perpetuate, you're the child of the devil. Therefore, you're the devil yourself. But you forgot that supposedly, if she's a saint, you're also Jesus. You're also good.
But see,
That's where we would need to move our client. Okay, you're so oriented with the devil. You're so oriented with the fact that you're the devil. Let's move you over a little closer to the Jesus. That's the 48 to 52. That's the middle.
And I think you're already getting there.
Yes, I
because
do. I mean, I've
of
noticed a huge
your-
difference since you started here.
But no, just the fact that how you're caring for your son,
yeah.
you know, because
I
you
also
don't have to go in that direction. You go
Totally.
the other direction.
Your dharma of taking care of your son is moving you in that direction.
Yeah.
Now, you'll never be the saint that your mother
No,
claims
right.
to be, because we
Yeah.
don't believe that.
yeah.
But you're moving in that direction. And
Yeah.
that's all our goal with a client. Find out their 0 to 100, and that's going to tell you as they talk to you, and get them a little bit closer to the middle.
And that proves that you're not the devil.
Yeah.
What you're doing now, how you're living your life, and how you're taking care of your son is proof
Yeah.
that you're not.
And she's noted the difference, but one thing that I did tell her about this weekend, I also do think that she loves my brother more because, see, she has him like this. Like, she could control him. Whereas that's where I told her with the whole communication part when I was telling her, I was like, you had me like this. And because you had me like this, I probably turned into what you didn't want me to turn into, but you lost that control of
Control isn't love.
me. Right.
So if
Like,
someone comes from a controlled family, a controlled environment, what is going to be the opposite?
uncontrolled.
Okay, independent, freedom,
Yeah.
Wildness.
Mhm.
wild.
You need,
This is castration.
you need to watch Lucifer on Netflix. That's gonna help you change your perspective on the devil. It might. It helped me to deal with my fear of the devil because
Okay.
he's
And that
represented
would be
as
a good recommendation to a
He's a good
client that
guy,
perhaps
yeah
identifies a lot with a religious figure, symbol. The devil is a symbol. I'm sure in that book, if I look up D or S, it'll be there.
So now that my brother told her that, now she also lost a little bit of control over him. That's why I keep saying he's her favorite is because she could control him, but now because he brought it out, it's like she lost a little bit of like.
But how
control.
wonderful that he was
Yeah,
able
exactly.
to liberate himself and get a little closer to liberation
Yeah.
because he spoke up.
Yeah.
A therapist that helps bring a client just that much has been successful. So maybe your need or your belief that you need to be so free and so independent and so wild and so whatever, it's just a belief. It's just a story. It's just a symbol. And if we can get you a little bit more, like with your parenting, that's more stable, and you're coming to a school, you come to school every day, you hand in quality work, you're raising your kid, you're living a pretty stable life. Let's not say that too loud, you might want to rebel, but it's the truth. You're moving yourself more towards that middle.
And I may not go to church, but I allow her to take my son. So
That's
it kinda,
another
you feel me,
form,
is
that's another
like-
form of getting closer to the
But
48 to
also,
52.
I allow him to pick and choose.
Okay.
So.
But all of those things are going more towards the middle. So that example of a show like Lucifer, if you see someone so identified with a symbol and you've seen it, those are great recommendations for clients. Oh, you might want to see this
You should
show
really see
because it might
It's
give
really
you a
good.
different take on it. That's what all of this is. These are just symbols. To me, they're just symbols. I'm not married to any one of these things. There is nothing on that table that to me means life or death. But there are clients that do. There are clients that do. And then you have to understand the level of that attachment to that symbol. And you try to move them away or not. You understand it, yes?
I don't think that relates in any way, but I'm always been a huge fan of superheroes, and I know they do that for a lot of marketing and stuff, but nowadays each superhero represents something. Like Superman represents hope, Captain America represents freedom, Batman represents fear, and that's the reason why every superhero has his own logo.
Okay, what's your favorite superhero?
Batman,
And he represents
fear.
fear. So there's something there to look at. And Gerson's always dressed in a color, but with black.
Yeah, that's true.
So there's some fear there that Batman perhaps, or your aspect of Batman helps you overcome. What do you have in similarity with Batman?
He doesn't like bullies, and
Okay,
he doesn't mind putting them in their place by any means possible.
okay. Do you identify with that?
Oh yeah.
Okay. So that's a purpose. And you can ask someone that you know what superhero they identify with, and right there you have the Dharma. You have a purpose.
I need y'all to
You
stop
are
watching
here to help people not be bullied. You'd be great for child psychology or school psychology, for instance. People are bullied by their parents all the time. Older people could be helped with, because they're bullied
We
in.
needed you. Where were you when we were kids?
So you're
I
already, through
needed
your
you when I was a kid.
identity. Well, of course there's a story there. Of course there's a story that you identify with the one who doesn't like bullying.
Yeah, I was always bullied.
And at what age were you bullied?
I would lose
That's
my
like
damn
the point.
mind.
It began when I was 8 years old, when we moved to a small town. The kids in the new school started bullying me a lot. And then I noticed they don't bully you so much after you ran your fist to their faces. So, yeah.
The bully.
There's the anger. Anger, fear, hurt, sadness. So that's his alter ego, is the Batman character.
Batman
I
came.
got a lot of
And
fears.
so
My child come home and
you
tell me
had
they
to
was
adopt that stance to protect yourself. And therefore, you can help others. That's part of your stone soup assignment. You can help others that are being bullied through conflict resolution, through teaching them how to fight. Maybe you become a martial arts person. But your story and your pain, especially that story from 0 to 7, this is a big crisis that happens. 7 to 9 is that first sort of death that we have. He moved to a new school and he was bullied. Of course that's going to affect your framework for the rest of your life. So doing something, finding a dharma that aligns with that, you are taking your pain and transforming it into purpose. Write that down. Take your client's pain and transform that into purpose. That's where you ask these questions of childhood. There's pain there. If there's pain in Paula's origin story, her conception story, that her parents were birthing a devil child, then she has to take that pain and create a purpose with it. And perhaps all that is to shed light on the other side of the shadow. That the shadow isn't always dark.
But you know, now that you say the devil child, it was also, I'm not gonna say I'm a mistake or like, what's that other word? It was probably Jesus, like my mom loving him so much. It was probably God sending me as the devil to like, what's that called? To like, not teach him a lesson, but
Shed some light.
no, not that either. Like, it was her, you know when you get in trouble, it was her punishment. It was that
But again, you're a source of punishment. You're a
Yeah,
source of
that's what-
pain. That's part of your narrative. That's part of your story.
My auntie used to tell that
That's,
to me.
as a client, what we would want to hope that you move against, because that's your thought. It's the same thing as the client. What can we tell Paula, instead of her being a punishment, maybe she was what?
A blessing.
A blessing to teach your mother to grow the hell up, that she ain't no saint.
That's
She
it.
married her cousin,
No, her uncle.
her uncle.
That's even worse.
She
Yeah.
married her uncle.
But they didn't know in the beginning. They didn't go into it knowing. No.
Still.
Yeah,
But they found out after they had kids or before they
No, hold up. What you talking about? They didn't know. They knew.
Like from the
They knew
beginning.
from the very
Oh,
beginning.
shit.
There you go.
Yo, they knew.
They knew.
That's why I'm saying, not probably the punishment.
I thought they didn't
That
know until the
punishment,
reunion.
that is a word. If you
No,
hear a
that-
client say punishment,
Haven't they? Oh, never mind.
which way are you gonna move them? What are you gonna move them closer to?
A blessing.
A blessing. So she's never gonna see herself as a full blessing to her mom.
Right.
You're not expecting your client to move that far. It's just a little erection. We move the client a little closer to getting out of this language of punishment and devil and all of that.
You do understand that she feels in the back of her head, she feels so
Clean.
dirty and
Of
like
course.
so dirty and
Dirty,
like
she's a
bad
prostitute. That's why she needs
and
to marry
bad
No, but
that she's
she-
blaming you, but she's like, oh my God, I did something so bad. She must be the devil because I did something so bad. But it's not your
Yeah.
fault.
But see, my grandfather, which is my uncle
And
grandfather.
psychoanalytic theory, Freud, in psychoanalytic theory, we talk about projection. It's a defense mechanism. Your clients and their parents, but they're your clients, she's defending herself by calling her the devil and calling herself punishment. Because I call it FOFO, fear of being found out. She would rather call herself a punishment and the devil than have any one of us figure out that she's the devil and tell her. So she's like, well, before you can call me that, bitch, I'm gonna call it myself. That is a defense mechanism. That's what your clients will do. When you hear those things, put it on your 0 to 100 and help them move over just a drop.
And I'm gonna tell you something. If only you knew how many cases of like relative having kids they don't survive, they're so high. So the fact that you made it, you were born, you reproduced, so it's still coming life out of you. It's a complete blessing. There's nothing about you that is a punishment.
But
Not
see,
except your mom,
if we
but
go to the very beginning, my grandfather, who's my half uncle, half grandfather, sent her to the United States to live with my grandparents, which are my grandfather's parents, and they had 14 kids, right? And my dad was the baby. And then they both fall in love. Like, that's crazy. You sent your daughter to, like, you know, to stay with the grandparents, and then this bitch go and fuck it up by screwing your dad, which is now your dad half uncle, and your grandfather's half your grandfather.
Do you see? Listen, it's just a story. It's just a story. All your client is a story.
But you see why I'm
And
so
if you could
confused
pick
in my
up-
life?
If you can pick up, listen.
Family tree
Guys,
for school.
all your client is doing is taking a story that they were told, that they believe, that they were fed, that's it. And they're living it out. That is why myth. Why do I teach so much about myth? Because myth is the story, and there's no new story. There is no new story. She is simply the prostitute archetype. That is it. These are just archetypes. That's all that astrology is, by the way. That's all that symbol is. You identify with the prostitute, or the shadow, or the dark. There is a story in mythology that will tell you, and this is your story. You're going to live it out to a T. And then hopefully, in therapy, that therapist can identify your story and get you out of all that.
Right, just because you were born into a story doesn't mean that you have to stay in that story.
The whole point is to move your client out of the story.
But see, here goes the crazy part about me and my son. I don't know who his father is.
Okay, and
So
that
that's sad,
is probably, but why is it sad?
Yeah.
Maybe it's a defense mechanism. Who cares? You knew who your dad was, and look how much it destroyed you.
Yeah.
Because you knew that he's your uncle.
And now I don't know my baby daddy.
So maybe that was a defense mechanism. Because maybe one day you'll find out that the baby daddy was the uncle of your son.
Or just music around.
No.
So you're probably trying to rewrite the story, but you don't know how. Your clients don't know how to rewrite the
And you're
story.
not the only one in the world that don't know they're his father.
Right.
It's like a everyday thing now, so don't feel bad.
I don't know my biological father.
And that might be something useful in therapeutic intervention. You know what, Paula, as Tanisha is your therapist, I don't know who my father is either. That might help the client feel more normalized. And again, you pick and choose what you share. But if you can identify that your client is just a soap opera, is just a story out of any book, you can say, oh, we can rewrite the ending. Think of those books that have like 10 different endings. Did you ever read those when you were young?
No. I need a beginning and an end.
Okay, you got an end, but you got to pick which ending you wanted.
I want it to be picked for me.
Okay.
Oh my god.
So, if you get to help your client choose the ending, and if they choose to continue living out their story and calling themselves a devil and being a prostitute, hey! You just tell them, damn, you look sexy in your whole outfit, and that's maybe all their intervention they need.
That'd be great.
Who are you to say that that person needs to change? Awareness. That's our main thing. Remember the Band-Aid? What's I? Awareness. What's I? Integration. If they can integrate the change. And what's the D, Tanisha?
Doing it right.
Do it
Doing
differently.
it different. Wow.
Most people don't get to doing it differently. That would require a lot of work. That would require them rewriting their entire story. Who the hell wants to go through that? So if you can get your client to awareness of their story, You know you're living out the story of Lilith in mythology? Do you know that there's a story in mythology that Lilith was the first wife of Adam? And she was a whore, and she liked to be on top every time they had sex. And Adam went like a pussy and went and